Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Toni Heath.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to be talking about the 5th serial of the 2nd season, 13th serial total, The Web Planets, which aired from February 13th, 1965 to March 20th, 1965. Consists of the episodes The Web Planet, The Zarbi, Escape to Danger, Crater of Needles, Invasion, and The Center, or Century.
It's Center.
It's Center, but it's British.
There's an E on the end.
Before we get into talking about the episode, or the serial, I don't know why I'm doing a ridiculous accent. We have a special guest with us today. It's possibly the last person
from our wedding.
Yeah.
Like where we ran out of wedding.
We've ran out of groomsmen.
Yeah.
And bridesmaids.
Unless we have my brother on, but that doesn't seem likely.
Or we could get some more of your bridesmaids on, but I don't know. Anyway, he was my best man, so I saved the best man for last. Josh Spurgin, he's been in a bunch of my videos and stuff. Say hello, sir.
Hi, sir.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You excited to be here?
Sure.
You look excited.
I'm very excited.
All right.
I'm riveted.
So what we generally do with guests is ask them, what about Doctor Who are you familiar with?
I started with Season 1, the reboot with David Tennant, and I watched...
What do you mean?
You started with David
Sorry,
Tennant.
I'm sorry.
That's the second person
There
who
are
said that.
people listening
Eccleston.
who just got really mad.
I'm so sorry. No, I promise I know better. I'm actually pro Eccleston. I'm not thinking. Yeah, I started with Eccleston and worked my way through and kept up through the end of Matt Smith, and I watched the very first episode of the newest Doctor, and I, for some reason, have not caught up past that.
Oh, you're further than me.
Yeah,
so.
you're further than us.
Yeah, but I've seen all the Eccleston, Tennant, Matt Smith, and the specials in between. I just haven't watched the latest. I'm like a year behind.
Any classic Who?
I watched part of some episode one time with Tom Baker. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember the name of it. It was on Netflix. It was like 12 o'clock at night. I'm laying in my bed on my iPad. I said, oh, okay. I watched about 5 minutes of it and then I fell asleep. So I have no idea what happened.
And you had no idea about anything before the serial you watched today.
No.
I know I sort of gave you a couple little mini things here and there.
You gave me those little morsels like after I'd already watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, going into the first episode, I knew nothing. This was my first experience with the first Doctor.
Did you have any sort of basic knowledge that you might have just absorbed culturally?
The only thing I knew about the first Doctor was he's kind of grumpy. I mean, that's really all I knew going into it was expect some grumps.
Did you
expect some grumps?
Did you know he had a granddaughter and all that? Or?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I knew about the. That's the first episode. What, Unearthly Child?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he had the granddaughter thing. I mean, that's about all I know.
Granddaughter and grumpy.
Awesome.
So that's what Josh knows about Doctor Who.
Now let's talk about the Web Planet.
Woo! Oh, but before we jump into that,
yes?
I'd just like to say congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Because this dude over
yeah.
here just got engaged.
I did.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he did it.
You guys were there. So
Yeah, I filmed it, and it's on YouTube.
it is on YouTube. People have enjoyed it. It's made people cry. So,
I noticed that, yeah.
That's your favorite thing, is to film things that make people cry.
yeah, but I don't know if
Sure.
this is the way you prefer, is it?
Usually I want them to be sad, but these are happy
Yeah,
tears.
they're crying tears of joy. And honestly, it's out there on the internet, so I mean...
You hope they're tears of joy.
I hope they're tears of... Yeah, but it's out there on the internet, and usually when you put things on the internet, you're especially something like that, you think you're going to receive a lot of negative stuff, because it's the internet. I've only seen 2 negative comments.
That's good.
Maybe 3, and that's out of because this page called Zelda Informer, they're big news source for Legend of Zelda stuff. They have 300,000 likes on Facebook. They wrote an article about it.
You got written up on another Zelda website as well.
Did I?
Yeah, I
only know about
it was Zelda. I think it's Zelda Dungeon or something like that.
Oh, did I? I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it looks very similar to the Informer one, the layout.
Well, they have like 300,000 people that like their page. And like, I have all the comments on there, like all of them were positive except for this one guy who's like, I'll give it 6 months. But everything else was positive. And then I think on YouTube there's only like one negative comment. So overall I was like, well, okay.
Maybe he meant I give it 6 months till the wedding date.
Yeah.
6 months seems
No,
like a
based on his
time to
profile
plan a wedding.
picture where he's just like I don't think that's the kind of thing he was going for.
I'm
For those
glad you were
listening,
able to make that
Josh
face.
just made a face.
No, but he did a really good job of like there was an audio.
Yeah, you
element
hear
to
that
it.
audio and you're like, I
yeah.
know what face is going on there.
I know what face just happened. I know.
That's a William Hartnell Brown face.
So the web planet. I'm excited to talk about it because it's kind of controversial.
Is it?
Yeah, it's kind of polarizing. I feel like.
So that's kind of why we put you on this, because
Yeah, we wanted to have someone who
like
had
a completely blank, no expectations to see what your opinion of. Because I already had an opinion on this serial because I've seen it before. Because I'm sure you know I watched through all the first Doctor.
Right.
So I had a clear opinion of it already. Like, this is one of the few serials that, like, I definitely... I mean, I remember a lot, but this one I'm 100% remember.
You remember it.
And what my thoughts on it were, so...
I'll try not to let you down.
Well, let's
Yeah.
just start with how it opens, which is we had our cliffhanger from the last time.
Which was that they were...
Hanging. No, I'm thinking of the Romans again because I have the hardest time with time, you guys. What is the cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger
Is that
is...
a quote from Doctor Who?
No, it's just a running thing in the podcast that I don't understand which episode we're on because I
I
get
just heard you
confused.
said I have a problem with time, you guys. That sounds like a quote.
That sounds like the Doctor. No, what happened was they're being dragged down by something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mysterious force, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, does that ever... they get caught
It's
in the
explained.
web planet. Ah!
Well, I was going to say, I think they explained what it was that was pulling things because it's part of... But, I mean, we'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I won't
Yeah,
put that-
it is important. It does get explained.
I just missed, since I didn't see the episode, I missed the cliffhanger, the ending. So the previous episode prior to the first episode of this
Yeah,
serial,
it ended the same way this episode began.
okay, which was them, they were like just in the TARDIS and they're being all jerky. It was like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if the jerky thing happened, but the Doctor was definitely like, I think we're being dragged down. But I don't know if they fell on the... Maybe they did.
I don't remember because I'm remembering when they fell down on the Romans, so...
So they just fall down a lot.
Oh,
They
yeah.
fall down
I mean,
all the
generally,
time.
like, an episode has to end on a cliffhanger, and when the writers
Yeah.
don't know what, it's like, everybody fall down!
Though the last one did a
London
pretty good
Bridges,
job.
guys.
So yeah, the ship's being dragged down. Then I don't remember.
What are all of your notes for?
I don't know. My notes just say like Ian nudges Barb, which is super helpful.
Oh, we see ants again, large ants.
giant creepy ants.
And immediately you're like, is everything going to be small again? I'm super here for
I
this.
do have a theory about the actors who played those ants.
Yes.
I was kind of wondering if, like, they were given no general direction at all, and they're just told, go wild. Because, like, the Doctor will be sitting there talking, like, they're at that device, the one that he's, like, the communicator. I can't remember what it's called. He's at that communicator device, and he's sitting there talking to,
Vicky.
Yeah. But, yeah, they're sitting there talking to her, and, like, all of a sudden one of those ants just, like, waddles up, bumps into him, and then just walks off.
I don't think they can see.
Yeah, that's
I
my
don't
theory.
think they can. I think their suits were constructed in a way that they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, so, like, I don't think they gave them any kind of... I think they just set them out there, like, put them on suits, like, just, all right, boys, have fun. Just...
Because there is an actual point in...
They walk right into the camera at one
They
point.
bump it
yeah.
and it's
And the
cute.
camera goes, shake, shake.
Because they didn't refilm anything. They only really refilmed something if something went, like,
Really
terribly
bad.
wrong.
That's
and
why-
running into the camera was not terribly wrong. So
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, it's like, but that's fine.
I don't know if it happens in this serial because I've just started to start tuning it out. But like the Doctor flubs his lines a lot. Like he'll just like and then like start over and say,
Oh, boy.
yeah. Did you notice any sort of like flubs?
I
and
mean,
stuff?
like, the ant thing, it just kind of struck me as it's kind of odd. I don't really recall any other line flubs. I mean, you know, sometimes the Doctor is so spazzy that even if he did, like, I might would just think, oh, that's just his character. Because I don't really know
Yeah.
his Doctor, so I might think his character is just to
Which I think
blurt out random
Yeah.
nonsense. Like,
I think it kind
Yeah.
of is. Like, I really do feel like a lot of him flubbing his lines is acting. Because there's been times where he's
There's a lot
acted
going
as
on in his
someone
head.
else.
Yeah, he plays someone evil in a future serial.
And I think it's not really there as much. I think it's kind of like a
And if I
comedy
recall
thing for him.
correctly, there's like no explanation as to why he looks like the Doctor. I don't even know if they really do anything much with it. They just want William Hartnell to play bad guy.
But the Web Planet. We
Well,
didn't
yeah.
talk about the Web Planet.
All we've said is that ants be tripping.
I guess.
We have giant ants. Vicky doesn't like the noise.
I didn't like the noise either, to be honest.
I
Like,
hated the noise.
because it was like 70% of the episode was that noise, and I mean, here's the thing. I have to paint you a picture of when I watched the first 2 episodes. So I mean, there's a big, because I have these things on my external hard drive. I tried to put them plug it up to my Blu-ray player. They wouldn't work. It wouldn't read the format. So then I had to go through this hassle of downloading a program to convert them to the right file format. So I'm going through all this stuff, and I finally get to it. I start the first episode, then all I hear is like that, whatever that noise. Yeah, that noise. I don't know why I just went darn. It's on a bell, but all I hear is that noise, and like Kelly, my fiance, she's sitting over there on the couch, and she's gonna like watch something with me, and she's just like has this look like, what in the world is he watching? Because she looks up and sees these ants running into everything. And these poorly constructed, I mean, I'm not trying to criticize them, I know it's the 60s, but poorly constructed costumes. And I don't know how you guys, how your episode looked, but mine was really smudgy.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very smeary.
It was
the outdoor stuff.
It was intentional. They put Vaseline on the lenses in order to make it look like it was being shot through a weird atmosphere.
I guess.
Which is why it's only on the outdoor stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
I just thought my footage was really screwed up.
No, it was an intentional artistic choice, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Work.
It just looked like they just went, smeared their hand across it a little bit, like a kid with paint. Like this. But yeah, she was so confused, and I just kept telling her, I'm like, please don't judge the rest of Doctor Who by these few moments, because I mean, it's something I might like her to watch one day.
Right.
But I mean, she's seen Vincent and the Doctor because she's a big fan of Vincent Van Gogh. She really liked that episode a lot. She cried even though she is her only episode you only ever seen. Because come on,
I haven't seen it.
Well, you're gonna cry. I mean,
You will cry.
It's a good episode. I mean, but she cried during it. But I mean, I was like, please judge Doctor Who by that episode.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, and also Classic Who and New Who are almost different beasts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of the Doctor's still the Doctor and all.
Yeah.
that,
Well, the one thing I like the kind of way I try to view it was to focus more on the writing and the story they were telling and the unique characters, not necessarily the way the characters looked and not necessarily the way the environment looked. Mm-hmm. Just kind of the actual story itself. Because even some of the episodes with Eccleston, the environment and stuff may be kind of hokey or the characters are hokey, but the story itself is good.
Right.
So I will say, with the exception of the poor choice, I feel like of the let's make everything blurry. Okay, but it's a visual medium, and now I can't see anything.
Not only is it visually bad, but it's also auditorially bad. Is that the word I'm looking for? The audio's awful because it's I can't see what's making the noise, and it's awful.
But I will say, besides that, I actually really like the moth costumes. There's a lot of in classic Doctor Who where I'm actually kind of impressed. Planet of the Giants is one of them where the set pieces are amazing.
Some of the set pieces here are okay.
There was one that was clearly just a cloth.
Yeah.
And something like that. But I mean, I try not to be, I'm not trying to be critical. I get it. Such were the times.
It's a mixed bag of sometimes where you're you watch an episode and you're I'm just genuinely blown away with what they were able to accomplish. And sometimes you're cover up the bottom of your styrofoam, please.
Right.
We
Well,
can
it
all
was
see that it's styrofoam.
Not to jump too far ahead, I have my notes here, but the Optra, the other bugs in the episode, I'm just
I love the Optra so
Wait,
much.
are the Optra the hoppy ones or the ones with the wings?
the hobby ones.
The Optras are the little pill bugs.
Okay.
And I love the Optras.
Not the ones that are on the, but the ones you can see the dude's mouth.
Yeah.
He has the big bug eyes.
They're
it looks like it looks like they put a bra on over top of his head for eyes.
If I could get Optra pajamas, I would wear them all the time.
And they hop all the time because their legs are kind of sewn together.
Yeah.
Well, so we see the ants and they make the awful sound. That's how they communicate. Yes.
I guess it's maybe to teach people this is how ants are.
Which bothers me still because I'm okay, but shouldn't the TARDIS still be able to translate that, even
That's
though they're
true.
ants?
I don't think at this point in time they firmly established
That
the...
it's a thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, just most
I didn't
of the
even think
universe.
about that when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I was just like, maybe they're not talking. Maybe they're just like, that's their sound.
Yeah. And then, like, I think they kind of go exploring, and we also get a sneak peek at another bug, which is the ones with the wings.
Monoptera.
The Monoptera.
The Monoptera.
I just called them bee moths.
You kept calling them bees, and I kept being like, no, they are definitely moths. And then they get into, like, their religion, and it's like the religion of the light, and I'm like, see, they're moths!
Well, they look kind of... The stripes just makes me think bees. But yeah, I guess they are moths.
I made some terrible notes. Just the planet is Vortis. Ian is the dude companion. Barbara was the kidnapped one. The ants are the Zarbi. Those are the notes I made because I can't remember all the names.
Yours were just
because
like...
generally we're like, I can't remember what that villain's name was. We're just going to make up a name and refer to them with that name throughout the entirety of the podcast.
My notes are like a bunch of details about the plot, but are also very vague. And yours are just like what the dude from Memento would tattoo to his body.
He literally has written in his notes, something happened.
Oh.
That's it.
I just see all capital letters as Crater of Needles!
Oh, all caps are the names of the episodes.
Oh. I thought you were just like, at some point they got really excited.
Yeah, so yeah, something happened. I don't
We
know
don't know
what.
what.
I think. I know what it was. It's when the Ian's pen like disappears or something.
Oh,
and it was like I don't
frozen.
know what happened, but then like they
Yeah.
kind of kept talking about it. It's like, oh, I guess his gold pen disappeared.
Which, by the way, at the beginning of this episode, Ian and the Doctor are like, we're going to go explore. There's no need for you guys to come with us, Barbara and Vicky. And I think, is this the one where Barbara's just like, well, then I'm going to start straightening up the TARDIS.
I think so.
Which I was like, good, someone needs to. Doctor's a mess. But
Is that kind of a thing with the first Doctor, that he's messy? Or
No, it just makes me think of when Wilf says something similar to 10. Where, like,
Oh yeah,
Wilf
he's
is
like
like,
sturdy.
yeah, it's like, I didn't think it would be quite so dirty. And the Doctor's like, you're in a time machine. Maybe don't criticize my housekeeping, thanks. And I just imagine Wilf and Barbara cleaning the TARDIS together, like,
Aww.
criticizing the Doctor the whole time.
That's my favorite thing is when people aren't like super like in love with the Doctor in a way. Like they just kind of like happily bicker with him. That's my favorite thing. Like that's why I like Donna so much.
Or like the first time Rory is ever in the TARDIS and he just goes, bigger on the inside.
Well, he says it's in another
It's
dimension.
in another dimension.
Yeah. And then he's like,
The
people say
Doctor
it's
is
bigger
pissed.
on that side.
You're
I
supposed
like it when they say that.
You're supposed to be impressed by me. Where he's like,
I like that sort of thing. When the Doctor gets knocked down just a little bit.
just a little, he needs it.
Not like, I don't like people just like, fuck you, Doctor, or whatever. I like just a slight nudge.
He just needs to be taken down a peg on occasion.
Yeah, or
Cheerfully.
else he becomes
friendly.
the was it the Time Lord?
Time Lord Victorious.
which is
But it's not something we want.
Not somewhere you want the Doctor to go.
Which, interestingly enough, though, I did have someone watch that episode and was like, I was so excited about Time Lord Victorious. I was like, hell yeah, he's Time Lord Victorious. And I was like, what? No!
Did you watch that
That
episode?
was
That's frightening.
terrifying!
I have no idea what you guys are talking
The Water of Mars? When like he's like, screw it, I'm gonna change time.
I can totally change time.
I'm gonna save all these people that are supposed to die, even though we're not supposed to.
bus thing?
No, it's they're like on Mars and there's like vegetation and stuff. Water's like draining out of their mouths and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and there's like a big explosion that's gonna happen? Or
Yeah, they're all gonna die, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And the Doctor's like...
That's a Tenet.
Yeah,
was that one of
it's
the
one of the
specials?
specials.
It was the
Yeah,
one
okay.
right before his like last one.
Okay, I remember that now.
Yeah, and like he's like, well, you know what?
I
I'm
haven't seen
better
that.
than everything.
That's like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm better than all this. I can do whatever I want, and so it's just like, I'm gonna save all of you, even though it's gonna screw up the future, and does so, and like basically gets a little bigger than he should be. It all goes to
Anyway.
his head. And bad stuff
Barbara's
happens.
cleaning the TARDIS, and her bracelet, which she's like admiring her bracelet, and Vicky's like, where'd you get that? And she's like, Nero gave it to me. Vicky's like, bullshit, you weren't in Rome.
Right? Yeah. This is something I had to explain to Josh a bit because he hadn't seen the Romans. I think you can maybe catch some of it from context.
I mean, just her talking about Nero gave it to me, and I don't know in Doctor Who they often go to, points in time, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, I'd kind of, like, okay, I guess they went to Rome.
see Nero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a whole adventure where they were both in the same place, Doctor and Vicky, and Ian and Barbara. Doctor and Vicky were doing one thing, Ian and Barbara were doing another, and like they almost kept bumping into each other, but then
So
didn't.
it was like Scooby-Doo when they're like in the hall, like
It was
come out
Yes.
the door, come out
that
the doors.
scene actually happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Except
Only
there
it
was,
was creepy.
there was a weird like rape element to it.
Oh, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Nero was like being very creepy with Barbara. That's if you watch any more of the First Doctor, that's something you'll pick up on is that literally everyone has the hots for Barbara. Literally,
It's pretty consistent.
everyone.
Yeah. Aliens, humans.
She is
Men,
the
women.
Jack Harkness of the First Doctor
Yeah,
era.
well, I guess that didn't really happen in this episode, though. I
No.
mean, maybe that's all the ants were bumping into her. They're just like, hey.
There- I think there was one flirty ant.
Yeah, there might have been a flirty moth.
Or the Monoptera, yeah.
They
I
did
mean,
sort of like look to her as like a leader at one point.
But her bracelet is being pulled in a mysterious
It looks like it's
direction.
getting tighter on her, and it was like really stressing me out because I'm like, I don't like the idea of like
Of it
that.
constricting?
Yeah, like it was really stressing me out.
I think it was getting up higher up on her arm because it started like here, and like later when you saw it and she was being pulled, it was like up on her.
I wonder if that was
arm.
on purpose or continuity.
Oh, I don't know. I started that sentence like I was going to give you an explanation. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, I also have a note here from earlier that it says Barbara saw something, but no one believed her, which is another common thing.
No, I think someone did believe her.
It took a second, though.
I think like Barbara was like, I saw something, and everyone was like, yeah, okay. Because I remember being like, hallelujah. Like,
What?
I don't know.
Was that a word?
I messed up in the middle there.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I tried to
With an
split
F
it up.
in the middle.
With a fucking in the middle.
And then you fucked it up.
And then I fucking it up.
It's a hallelujah sandwich.
I remember being like, someone saw something and someone else, because it's not always just Barbara. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. If someone sees something, they're like, nah.
Yeah, you're making it up. We go around in a time machine and a spaceship and see all sorts of weird aliens and the past and the future and blah 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 blah. We're not gonna believe you that you saw some.
Well, and like
thing.
it's been like Susan's just been like, I saw a person, and everyone's like, probably not, and it's like, why? You're on a planet, like.
So anyway, we got Barbara's bracelet did a thing. Then we see a blurry pyramid with some acid water.
Yeah, Ian immediately tries to drink the water, and I'm like, did you learn nothing from, what was it, the last episode with acid water?
I mean, granted, I'm just coming into this. I haven't seen the previous episodes of them, but even, I would be like, I'm on an alien planet.
Right, yeah.
I'm not just going to walk up and just be like, yeah, I think I'll sip that.
Okay, but
I mean-
literally 2 episodes.
It was the Keys of Marinus.
Kings of Marinus, which more than 2 episodes ago. Not that many episodes ago. There was a whole ocean made of acid.
water.
Like, he has this in his mind, even, that, like, it's a thing. So...
Maybe they're setting up for how he's eventually going to die. He's going to drink some acid, and then he'll be like, I told you not to... Oh,
3 times, man.
Oh, but this is my favorite thing, though. Ian goes to drink it, and the doctor's like, okay, really? For real? And stops him, and he's like, give me your belt. And for some reason, Ian's belt is...
No, it's not his belt, it's a tie.
No, it is a tie, but he asks for his belt, and he's like, I don't have a belt. And he gives him his tie. Because I remember thinking this whole exchange is odd. Why not just ask for his tie?
To add some realism to the script.
Because people don't have belts all the time.
But he takes his Coal Hill tie and he throws it in the acid. Or, like, he dips it in the acid. So he's like, see, it's acid. Saved your life.
Told you, effort.
Doctor's like, saved your life. And then Ian's like, you ruined my tie. That was my tie. And he's, like, heartbroken. Because it's probably one of the only things he has from, like, Earth and from his old job. He's like, that was my Coal Hill tie. And now it's ruined. And
Teach you to drink acid.
And it actually, the way I don't make it sound cute, but it's a little cute because the doctor is kind of ribbing him the whole time.
That's actually another thing I should probably mention. In the first episode, they're basically kidnapped, so they didn't bring like supplies or clothes. Or
Right, it's not like
anything.
Donna Noble Planet of the Hats.
Ian and Barbara.
Yeah, they're basically kidnapped.
So
Barbara's led by the bracelet out of the TARDIS. The TARDIS is moving I think starts moving.
Yeah,
right?
well,
There's a
she's
lot of stuff
led,
going
and
on.
it reminds me of something from a horror film. She's like,
the way she has
Yeah,
like her arm
I'm
and
out.
she's being pulled, which I'm like, I am skeptical that because it's gold, which is that's revealed later, but
Yeah.
her bracelet's gold and they can control gold. I don't know, but I'm skeptical that like a gold bracelet could like drag you, like.
It's a very strong magnetic pull.
Mm.
It's a good thing. I mean, what if that dude had been wearing a belt and had gold on it? He'd have been like,
It's a good thing he got rid of his pen.
He would have been thrusting everywhere.
yeah.
That would have made Tony happy.
That would have been a shame. shame. So
Toni has a slight crush on
I don't know what we're talking about.
Ian?
Yeah,
Yeah, from Sharknado.
Ian gets put into a web, because this is the web planet. Vicky is in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS starts getting dragged away.
By ants.
Well, I don't know. You don't see what's dragging it away. It's just like...
Later it's
Don't-
revealed it's by
Don't at one
ants.
point that you kind of see
Spoilers.
it moving, though?
Yeah, you like see it like...
But you don't really see anything. Or maybe it's just so smudgy I didn't see anything pushing it. Or was it...
Is it
I
just
think-
cold
or was it a
or were
far-
there no ants?
Or was it a
Wow.
faraway shot and you just kind of saw it in the distance? I can't remember.
I think it was being dragged by whatever dragged it down to the planet in the first
Magnetic
place.
pull?
But yeah.
Okay.
The villains, whateverness.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure what happened in the plot of this serial.
There's a lot of it that was kind of confusing. I read the Wikipedia page today just to kind of give a refresher and some of the things that I might have missed. And I'm still a little, like, without pulling up the Wikipedia page, I'm still a little like, wait. You know, because I know there's a magnetic pull, but yet somehow that's also related to the web. I don't...
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
I mean, can we talk about the story, like the story of the Zarbi and all that, or do you want to save that? Like, or the Menoptera, or do you want to kind of save it?
Well,
Since we're on the topic, but...
I mean, if you want to, go ahead, because I don't know
Yeah,
where
here's
it's
the thing.
at.
Here's the thing about this. This was 6 episodes long. We are probably not going to be able to recount everything in the...
Right.
Because it's 6 fucking episodes long.
And that's what you guys started me with, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch like 2 episodes, and I'm like, oh no, okay.
Well, and
There's been
They
six.
go by
some
pretty
that are like
quick. They go by
7.
pretty quick.
The thing with the Web Planet, I will say, is that it's one of those ones that there have been longer ones that are like it's consistently entertaining the whole time. Whereas there are episodes in this that I feel like are hit and miss.
More
On the miss. On the miss side.
But I will just say, Ian being trapped, Barbara being drugged to the acid, and Vicky being drugged away in the TARDIS, all that is the cliffhanger for... A lot of dragging. A lot of going places, except for Ian, who can't go nowhere. That's the end of the Web Planet. Not the serial, but the first episode. And that's leads into the Zarbi!
The one thing that kind of confused me, and I even read the Wikipedia page, and it kind of didn't, the plot part, is because Barbara gets kidnapped. Or by the Menoptera, right? At first. She gets, like, by the Menoptera, and then she escapes from them.
Saved by the Menoptera.
No, because she, like, escapes from them or something, and then, like, runs into the Zarbi, and then, like, they take her back to the Menoptera, and then, like, then she works together with the Menoptera, or something weird, like...
One of the Menopteras finds her, right, and takes off her bracelet and throws it in the acid.
I don't remember.
Yes, and then she's, like, grouped up with them.
So, like, they weren't the ones who were kidnapping her, it was the Zarbi, but they found her before the Zarbi could get her.
Right, and then, but then she like, goes... Because she runs away from them at the Menoptera at one point. They have her, like, inside of a thing, and she, like, does something and runs away, and then, like, the Zarbi get her, and then somehow they take her back to those Menoptera.
I don't honestly know.
Oh, I think when she gets taken back to the Menoptera, it's like, it's the prisoner Menopteras. The ones without the wings.
Oh, okay, yeah. She doesn't get taken back to them. She gets taken to
the Zarbi.
Like, there's, like, a mine, and there's Menoptera who are being kept prisoners by the Zarbi.
I have to pull up the Wikipedia page while I'm saying. Like,
by the way, the Zarbi are the ants, right?
Yeah.
And the Menoptera are the moths. For those keeping track. Oh, God, I'm so lost.
If you're confused, it's because it's kind of a confusing episode.
Okay, I'm gonna. While you guys are talking, I'm gonna.
Although there is an interesting thing, like now that we're finally into it, you meet the Zarbi and you meet the Menoptera kind of separately. And the Menoptera are like, yeah, this is our home planet. It was taken from us by the Zarbi. And then there's like a later scene where you're talking with the Zarbi, and the Zarbi are like, the Menoptera are invading this planet. And so there's kind of a while there where you're like, oh no, what? This is kind of a little gray. I don't have like a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah.
But the moths can speak English, so.
Yeah, they're not annoyingly going.
So yeah, here's what it's. They free her of the trance by removing her bracelet and then debate what to do with her. Barbara escapes. However, she is immediately captured by the Zarbi and brainwashed through the use of a gold neck harness. The Zarbi take her back to the Menoptera, killing one and capturing another while the third escapes. So that implies that it's the same Menoptera, but maybe because they had the gold neck harness, which we find out like it's kind of controls her.
Yeah.
Maybe they somehow like found out. Oh, she knows where some of those guys are.
That's what it is, I think. They used Barbara to lead them back to where the Menoptera are. It's not
really said in any way, but maybe that's what the ants are saying. Like, that's what the means.
That makes sense. I'm following now.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't know that thing was gold. And, like, all of a sudden, Dark's like, it's gold!
Oh, yeah, I didn't know it was gold until they said it was gold way later.
Yeah.
But,
well, they had to.
Because there's no color, so I'm just like, it's a gray thing.
Yeah, you just sort of...
I gave them a whole rundown of everything, if you want to fill some things in.
They're running out of air, but I don't know if that ever becomes important at all.
It's not that the atmosphere is very thin, which is something that bothered me slightly, because technically, I don't even know if this is true. I read it on the internet one day.
It's gotta be true.
So it's probably true. But I've read that, like, the amount of oxygen in the air is, like, directly related to how big insects can get. So, like, the more oxygen, like, if there's a ton of oxygen in the atmosphere, then bugs can get huge and creepy and gross. And so the fact that the atmosphere is, like, really thin and there's very little oxygen...
Maybe this science didn't exist in the 60s.
I just remember thinking, like, that's the opposite. They should be really, really small. But maybe it happened with, like, the fight for the planet, and there's been wars going on, so... Really, it's a plot device that Ian and the Doctor can't last very long outside.
At one point, they had almost like, oh, maybe it was just me, but they'd almost like implied that the ants were like the same ants from Earth, but they'd somehow gotten there and were just grown really big. Because they like made some comment about the ants. Like, they didn't say like, no, they're alien. You know, he was just like, because they made some, I remember, I think it was Ian who said something about it, and it's just like, well, in this environment, they're blah, blah, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up, but I feel like something was said.
No, yeah, I remember something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, how did they get there? It was like, I mean, it's Doctor Who. I get that.
I think it's just the writers pulling stuff out of their ass.
Yeah, it's like, this is why. This is reasonable.
So most of my notes just say ants. Ian and the Doctor are surrounded by ants. Vicky leaves the TARDIS. Ants. There's an ant in the TARDIS. Ants dance. And then Barbara gets taken by ants. But Ian, Doctor, and Vicky are reunited. It's just a lot of ants. But then we get to the next interesting thing. The Menoptera have this crystal communication system, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's like a weird... what is it made out of?
I don't know, but it reminded me a lot of like the kryptonite crystal things from the Superman movie, which he uses to create the
you can like slide them around, and as they slide them around, they're like walkie-talkies.
They're like breaker.
Yeah.
I just have this one note where there's at one point they are running from the Zarbi, the ants, and you keep calling them ants, so I don't want to cause confusion. And they're running from them, and then like they get away, and then the ants kind of look around, then they just leave, and someone makes comments like, "Oh, they don't look for long" or something. And all I could think of was like Obi-Wan Kenobi be like, "The ant people easily food and won't look for long, but they'll be back and in greater numbers." Like that's all I can think about for some reason. And I have a note for that.
That's a good note to take.
Thank you. But I also have this one note that says the Doctor has that face stare. That's all it says. Because, like, I feel like all the time they would just zoom in on him, like, with this worried-looking stare.
Dramatic zooms are my favorite.
They did a lot of dramatic zooms. I mean, maybe that's not a lot for usual, but for me, that was a lot of dramatic zooms. Especially on the Doctor's face, and he was like, oh, like, he looked like he was actually scared of that camera coming. Like, if they were actually physically moving it towards him.
Well, he knows it already hit an ant earlier. So, Barb leaves the ants, joins up back with the moths.
She gets free of the mind control somehow. We don't know how.
And then there's a weird bug. We get a third bug that looks like, I call it the Roomba bug. That
it's a weapon, I feel like.
Yeah, like it
shoots some thingy out of its snout.
Yeah.
It's adorable, and I want 12.
And it kills a bee. Not a bee, a moth. It kills the Menoptera. Whatever.
The Menoptera bee.
And then I have a note that says the Doctor mimes. Oh, I think he's trying to talk to Vicky, but not tip off the ants, the Zarbi. But then that's when the tube comes down. The tube that the Doctor
of communication
sticks his head inside of.
Which,
that was interesting.
We haven't said, but like the Doctor and Vicky
and Ian are captured by the
Zarbi, and they have this like clear plastic tube that they lower down and put over the Doctor's head, which allows him to communicate with the Zarbi.
Well, he's communicating with the Animus.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yes.
Animus controls the Zarbi.
That's right, yes.
The leader of the Zarbi.
The leader.
The villain.
The one who speaks like this.
Yeah, it was a nice voice.
It was a good villain voice.
It was a very good
That
villain
Kind
voice.
of gave me a GLaDOS like from Portal 5,
Yeah.
but less robotic.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of
Just
similar
more
tone, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, a little less sarcastic and a little more just
Yeah,
smooth.
Just-
and
but scary at
creepy.
the same time.
Yeah.
Like frightening. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the Animus was probably for me the most interesting aspect of this series.
She gave him so many. She's just like, okay, well, give me this information, and then he's like, all right. Then he's just over there like pretending, and then she's like, you better not be over there stalling, or I'm gonna get you. And he's like, oh, I'm not. I'm getting you that information. And then he does, and she's like, oh, you better no. But she doesn't do anything. She just keeps like giving him chances, and then like he's like, it's like we're distracting. Like he's like, oh, hey Ian, just go escape real quick. Then he's just like gone, and it's like. Then he gets on things like, he escaped, and he's just like, yeah,
Sorry.
let him escape while you guys weren't doing anything. Like she's a villain, but she's not the best.
Yeah.
She's got her
She spends
minions.
all her time working on her voice.
Yeah,
None
like
of
her minions that
skills.
she controls, like they just run into things for the most part.
What is she grew?
Minions is, it's everywhere. That's the best word I could think of to describe her
So-
worker ants.
But I do like the tube. I like the Doctor in the tube. I think it's a very nice visual.
Yeah.
And then the other people, everyone else couldn't hear what was going on. So that was a cool aspect where she could talk directly to him, he could talk to her, but no one else could hear what was being said.
The
So
cone of
that's-
silence.
We just keep referencing things that have that guy.
That one guy.
Steve Carell. Just keep
I
referencing
wasn't
Steve Carell stuff.
referencing the Steve Carell version. Just
Yeah,
so you know.
well, yeah, but I mean...
Speaking of The Office,
By the way, I think we are now out of... The tube coming down to talk to the Doctor is the end of The Zarbi! And we're now on to Escape to Danger!
Escape to danger.
Which is a bit like out of the frying pan into the fire.
A bit.
it's a good title.
Escape to Danger.
Yeah, I like it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's nice.
That's a pretty good one. Some of the titles are a little like... what
Because
were
you're
you thinking?
like, it gives you an impression like they're running like from the fire, and like they're like, yeah, we're gonna, oh crap, full of acid. Like you're running one thing into a bad thing.
It's pretty good. And it's like right in the middle, so it's a good, like, whatever. Yeah, you're right though. Ian escapes, stuff explodes. I have no idea. What does that say? Zarbi wants to add the bees?
Attack the bees?
Zarbi wants to attack the moths.
Why did you...
Another part I didn't understand was just like, I think I made a note. It was regarding Ian and one of the Monoptera.
Which Ian escaped, so how does he end up in the...
With the hoppy things?
He was with that Monoptera, and I think they were running from Zarbi, and then like there's like a bunch of them, so they like went underground.
To
Okay.
escape.
And like they went, and all of a sudden all this dust goes, and kind of falls, which I guess that denotes they're going underground. And I think that was the end of this episode, maybe. Or
Yes,
somewhere in there?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because they go underground. Yeah, you have it says cave in.
So we're getting way too far ahead.
Well,
You just want to get to the
it's
hoppies.
fine.
We're jumping all around.
Oh, this episode is also the episode where the ant...
The thing that I wrote is that Ian like became friend with a big bug, which is Monoptera, for like no reason. Like he's all of a sudden they're just like hanging out on top of the cliff, like talking about stuff.
It's because
Yeah.
Ian
Instantly.
does that to everyone.
And-
Ian's everyone's best friend.
And he asked him he asked the Monoptera about something, and the Monoptera's like, "Oh, it would take 2 hours," and I was just like, "How does he know this terminology?" Because Monoptera's like 2 hours.
That's true.
Like he's a bug.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if these bugs are
From
potentially
Earth.
from Earth.
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
never heard it. Like we're gonna take that with us.
They had a watch and they figured it out. And it came with an instruction
It was
manual.
2 hours, and like 4 hours later, Ian was like, how come it hasn't
That
happened
bug can't
yet?"
tell time.
Right. Just going by the wrong hours. You're thinking it's Earth hours.
So okay, so the tube thing lets the Doctor and Ian go inside the TARDIS before all this happens.
The tube thing?
Yeah, the tube thing. The Animus lets them go in the TARDIS where they can basically plot shit.
Yeah.
and then
Well,
they're
'cause
getting
she
the
goes-
astral
Yeah.
map thing.
Yeah, she has to go in there and let them. But I mean, if she'd been smart, she would have been like, "Well, leave the door open,
Right. Let me see what's going
or
on.
let me
with
send
it.
one of my ants." Because I'm guessing she can like maybe get information from the ants somehow.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't.
I guess. I
Because she
don't know.
seems to know what's going on, even though she doesn't have like eyes in the room that we can see.
But
So
she's-
she should have like sent an ant in there because he would have at least like knocked stuff over and been like, "Yeah, you can't plot now. He destroyed everything."
The thing is, the Animus like, is doing such a poor job of, like, keeping tabs on the Doctor, but the Doctor still gives her the information.
Yeah.
Like, not the wrong information.
A little bit at a time, though, but
Yeah.
information.
A little bit at a time.
Guess what? They're coming to kill you.
But the truth. And, like, gives them... basically, the information that they want is they want the location. There's, like, a Menoptera ship.
Coming.
More Menoptera are coming than the Menoptera
Yeah, because the Menoptera were there, and then this Animus moved in and pretty much started taking over. So Menoptera left, right?
So Menoptera left. And so
then the moon, their moon they went to started getting, like... Was it getting pulled back closer because of the web... The planet, the thing that pulls stuff?
Sure.
I feel like that was something they said, like it was pulling the moon closer. Maybe I made that up.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm sketchy on that.
Details. But yeah, I mean, let's say that is it.
But yeah, so they're coming back.
With a vengeance.
But yeah, they're using the Doctor to get basically the whereabouts of where this other ship is going to come.
Oh wait, I said that wrong. The Menoptera fled to the moons that had been pulled into orbit around Vortis by the force of the Animus. So
okay.
the moon apparently did not exist before. Like they weren't that close, and after the Animus came and started doing all the crap the Animus did, which included enslaving the Zarbi and getting rid of everything else, the gravitational or magnetic or whatever you want to call it pulled those moons closer, so that was the closest place for them to flee. So they fled there, and that's where they plotted revenge.
I remember the thing that was cute. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
There's a point where Ian escapes. I'm pretty sure it's this episode where the Animus is pissed, and so somehow they find one of the gold things. Vicky and the Doctor. How did they get?
Wait, that's way later.
That's way later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, the harness, the
little gold mind control harness.
Well, it was they were in there with the Animus, and they were trying to get doing the astral maps, because they did the astral maps thing for forever.
Yeah.
And the show, he's like, it's gold! And then he's like, I can make it not do that, or whatever. Because he apparently knows how to make gold not whatever.
Control someone's mind.
He looks at it, he's like, it's no longer gold.
Like it's what alchemists are trying to do, but in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah, you talking about the cute thing where they were standing there pretending like...
And Vicky, they have broken one of them, but they both have them on. And Vicky has the fake one on, I think.
Yeah.
And so the Doctor's standing there all mind-controlled, not moving, and so Vicky's pretending to be all straight up, and she just opens one eye, and
That's 2 episodes later.
It's okay.
It's really cute, so it's fine.
They were down there with those things for a long time.
But basically,
we haven't
in
even
2
gotten
whole
to the cave
episodes, they haven't done anything.
No, because we're skipping over. Vicky goes into the TARDIS to get something, picks up the wrong box, and it has something scary in it.
Oh, it's got a...
Yeah, they didn't really talk about that much.
But it's setting things up.
Yeah.
They use it also to scare the Zarbi.
Yeah.
But it's also just setting up what the Animus is.
It's a
spider.
It's a spider. It's like a specimen. Like one of those.
Catch that.
I didn't tell just now.
Cheater.
It's like one of those like frame kind of things that like people have. And she's like showing it to the Zarbi, and the Zarbi's like, "Don't touch me." And so she's basically like, "Cool, we can use this to escape." And she keeps wanting to escape, and the Doctor's like, just wait. And she's like, why? We have this thing that the Zarbi are obviously afraid of. And the Doctor's like, just wait. I want to continue to give them little bits of information at a time.
So they can prepare for this attack.
Right.
And so everybody is now trying to get to the Crater of Needles, which leads us into the Crater of Needles!
The Crater of Needles!
Crater of Needles!
Which is exactly what you would expect from a Doctor Who title.
I don't remember seeing any needles.
I do. Like, there's like little peak things. Like, they had like a whole like conference with like Barbara and like, what are we gonna do? And like, they're just like these little cones.
Just look at a quick recap. Where is everybody?
Okay.
Cones of Dunshire?
The cave-in just happened.
Yes.
So they're going underground. The Doctor and Vicky are still dealing with the tube.
But are Ian's underground with the Menoptera.
I don't know where Barbara is. Like,
he's underground with the Menoptera and the Optra.
We got into the Optra yet?
That's the Optra show up in the beginning of the Crater of Needles. That's what you wanted to get to.
And those ones look like they have bras on there.
And Barbara gets shipped to the mine, basically, with the worker bees.
Okay.
Who have their wing, the worker moths, have their wings cut off, the working Menoptera.
They're the Menoptera who have been captured by the Zarbi and are being forced to mine. Which is a, reoccurring thing in Classic Who. Like, that's what happens when you get captured by opposing aliens. They put you to work in the mines. Daleks, Zarbi, that's what we do.
The moths actually want to liberate the ants because they're being controlled by the
being
animus.
controlled.
They are forced to gather vegetation and drop it into the rivers of acid, thereby feeding the central force of the Zarbi called the animus. That's what they're doing down in the crater.
Okay.
So there you go. This is all making sense.
I knew there was something to do with
Figuring this
vegetation.
out.
I couldn't remember it. Yeah, we only have like 5 Wikipedia pages pulled up.
Leafy vegetables. That's what they're getting.
Vicky gets put under the collar, and the doc will give landing details for her release, but I don't know if that goes very well.
Well, because the collar's not for real.
And we're back to the stuff happens with the pill bugs, but I don't.
Here's the thing about
They have gooey handcuffs. They force their hands into this stuff.
Yeah, and it's just we're like, what is that? And they take it out, and their hands are immobile, so it's just supposed to be sticky, I guess. But they're so cute. The thing about them is their costumes, their legs are sewn together, so they hop, and they have these big old bug eyes, and they're adorable, but they're very angry. So, like, they're hopping around, and if you're lying to us, we'll kill you! And it's like, you're so cute. Please be angry some more.
And I just remember, I meant to throw this in, but like right before the cave-in when they were being chased, I remember one of the little pill bug type things. I swear to God, it went by one of the walls, and it went, like it sounded like a car driving by. I completely forgot about that.
The thing with the pill bugs is that they're basically somehow related to the Menoptera, but they've gone underground since stuff has happened.
What, the Optra?
The Optra.
Yeah, they. I read that earlier. They went underground when all the crap went down. So I guess over the years of like their evolution, they just never grew the wings because they're underground.
And evolution became pill bugs, which all right, that's how that works.
And their little pajama pants that are sewn together and makes them hop.
It's so cute.
And then we have the thing with the collars, because they collared both the Doc and Vicky, but the Doc's already figured out the gold thing. And he blew up his PC, his whatever the little astromaps thing that he was using.
He blew it up.
I called it his PC. And they thought it was a Mac. But they figure out the gold thing, so they're fine. But then the Spearhead arrives, which the Spearhead is the backup Menoptera that are coming to fight.
Yes.
They show up.
But
They
the
fight.
Zarbi are there because some asshole gave them their location.
Who could that be? But they start fighting and they kind of start losing, and that's the end of Crater of Needles, and we're now into Invasion! There's a secret wall? Was that how they got out of some, they just went through a secret wall and it was like, we're fine now.
Yes.
You look so disappointed.
They do that so many times. It's like, they end on a huge cliffhanger and then it just starts like, oh, there's this thing. We're fine now.
We're fine.
Then that's when we get Vicky sneaking a peek, which is adorable. So cute. And then they put the thing on the ant. They take the collar off and put it on the ant, and
So
the doctor
now they
can
have
control
a little
it.
loyal
Yeah.
ant.
Pet ant. Anthony.
Anthony.
Oh, bless it.
Then I think
He
everyone...
should have wrote it.
Yeah!
Should have wrote the
No
ant.
one did.
They should have. That would have been epic. Going into battle on an ant.
I don't think the actor's back could take
It would have been like it would almost
Either the ants or the doctor's back.
It would have been like that scene in was it Honey I Shrunk the Kids when they ride on the bee?
Yeah.
It would have been like that, except on an ant.
Well, Ant-Man rides an ant.
Spoiler.
It's Ant-Man.
I just haven't seen it yet. Fun fact, this is a little aside, speaking of Honey I Shrunk the Kids, when I was little, we went down to Universal Studios, and that's when Honey I Shrunk the Kids was a big thing.
Did you go to the park?
Yeah, we
Shut
were in
up!
it. Yeah. You're like, the grass is like 30 foot tall, right? It's crazy. Well, we got in line, and we went to this thing, and they picked me and my brother, and we went out there like on like a soundstage type thing, and there was this huge bee looking thing, and we were like pretending like one of us was riding and the other was like beside it, like falling off, and they were filming it in front of a green screen, and then there was like the actual footage of it, like where it looked like it was actually happening, and like I'm like falling and he's trying to reach me and all this stuff.
That's amazing. This is not the first time this park has been brought up on this podcast.
I had no idea. But the bad thing is, while we were in line to get to either the park or that bee thing, I was like, I'm like 5, I'm pretty young. I'm crawling all over the bars like kids do and stretching out, and I was wearing these little silky, like, my mom called them bike shorts, like they're like what you'd ride a bike in, I guess, and they ripped right near my junk. Like, it just ripped, so I had to walk around Universal the rest of the day with ripped shorts. But I mean, I'm little, I don't care. But in retrospect, I probably should have cared a little, because there are probably a few people who got a little bit of a peek.
I just imagine that you had green underwear, And so when you did the,
Oh.
green screen...
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Wait, you're saying Josh doesn't freeball it?
I don't know.
And there's another time we were out west, and I was sitting we were at a hotel, and I was in a hot tub jacuzzi type thing, and my mom's filming the whole thing because we're on this big 2-week vacation, going from Alabama to California and back.
Nice.
And I'm sitting there, and I don't know if I don't think I'm wearing those same shorts, but apparently these shorts had ripped at some point, and I didn't know. So I'm sitting in the corner of the hot tub talking to my mom while she's filming me, and all of a sudden she notices that my thing is hanging out. And so we went back and watched this footage years later when I was 15, and I didn't really know about this. And you can see my mom when she notices it because she's talking to me, and I have no idea. I'm oblivious, and she starts giggling, and the camera starts going up and down because she's giggling and laughing, and she's trying to yeah, sweetie, yeah, and I'm just yeah, mom, blah 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 blah, and apparently my thing's just hanging out the bottom of my shorts.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
So you're
we
saying
got to be derailed at least once from Doctor Who.
So what you're saying is there exists child porn of you.
Apparently.
I don't know how to get back from here.
The Zarbi!
Oh my gosh. I don't know why we're at anymore.
Broke it.
So pretty much we're about to basically bottom out story-wise here because Barbara and the Menoptera sneak off into the Crater of Needles, I guess, this hidden place. And
They should have been called the Crater of Doom. I think that...
I mean,
Well,
that probably was already taken.
They do a lot of cave of this, cave of that, crater of whatever,
Yeah, that's
death,
always noun
doom,
of scary adjective.
fear. I'm surprised this wasn't the Cave of Needles. I mean, it technically kind of is a
It is
cave.
a little bit, yeah.
There
The
are
Hall
caves.
of Scariness!
I swear, there's a cave in every serial. It's ridiculous. So yeah, now they're basically just talking forever about what they're going to do, which is a thing that the First Doctor's era had a lot of. It's, what are we going to do? Let's talk about plans. Plans. Talking. Woo, woo, woo. It's very boring. But they're going to attack the Animus, basically.
Which I don't know why we haven't, why it's taken us so long to be yeah, let's attack that thing.
And basically, what happens is we have everybody in sort of separate locations. We have Ian and Vicky over here. We have Barbara over here with the Menoptera. We have Ian and the Menoptera underground, and
Not with Vicky. You said Ian.
Yeah,
Vicky,
you meant
That's
the Doctor.
it. The Doctor and Vicky. Sorry.
Yeah.
Doctor and Vicky over here. Barbara with the Menoptera. We have Ian with the Optera underground, and they all somehow kind of wind up in the same place with the Animus.
Just cause.
Conveniently, all at the same
'cause
time.
They're with the Animus thing, and all of a sudden, doesn't Ian literally just
They
pop out of the ground?
Yeah.
So he had the cave in, go way down, then all of a sudden he's just da-da-da. But then, you think, oh, he's going to save the day, and then he just does nothing.
No, Ian's just kind of there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Am I mistaken, or is when they finally get to the layer of the thing, it's kind of all
it looks like pillows or something.
I thought it was foam blocks or something,
Yeah.
where it's almost where like a ball pit or something where you can't move through it.
They just kind of fall to the ground.
Yeah.
They had the isotope. That was their isotope device.
What?
Isotope?
Why so many
it's
times?
ISOP-TOP. Isotope.
That's how it is officially.
That's how it was on the Wikipedia page.
Isotope.
Huh.
I thought it'd be one word, isotope. But
I
it's
just thought they kept
isotope.
mispronouncing isotope, but it's
It's
actual
isotope.
an ice. Okay.
Isotope.
So that's the device they were going to try to use, which they said they...
On the thing.
Yeah, they go and try, and then nothing. They just start falling.
No one
to
can
the
make it
ground.
past the foam blocks.
And then I was so confused about it because I'm how did they all of a sudden just do it? It made no sense to me. I was really confused. And I see this from the Wikipedia pages because this is where I was recapping. Barbara destroys the Animus with the isotope device because
We're in the center now.
because of a singular act of willpower.
What?
That's seriously what the Wikipedia page.
I
I
don't
think it's
remember
they can't get they can't get the device towards which I can say it now, right? What it
Yeah.
is. It's a really big spider. There was a point where we were watching this and I was like, this is called the Web Planet. I have seen ants. I have seen...
And the ants are always super scared of spiders. That
Right.
does happen.
I have seen ants. I have seen moths. I have seen pill bugs. If I don't see a giant spider, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be so pissed.
Apparently the place where the Animus is called the Carcinome.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
The carcinome.
I just remember. I
sounds
knew it was
fancy.
the
So
center.
then you
which
do
is the
see
name
the
of
giant
stuff.
spider, and you're kind of like, it looks like a giant spider that was built on a budget. It doesn't move very much.
It webs up the Doctor and Vicky, though.
Yes.
So, you may just read this little excerpt, because, since we're there. The Doctor and Vicky make their way back to the carcinome, where they are taken to the center to see the Animus, a great spider-like creature. Here they are mesmerized and made helpless by the Animus. Meanwhile, Barbara and the Menoptera attack the carcinome from the outside, using the Doctor's ring to control a larvae gun. The
larvae gun's the Roombas, right?
Yeah, the little bugs that we said that were weapons.
Yeah, they're called larvae gun. At the same time, Ian, Vestron, and the Opter try to dig their way to the Animus from below. They all make it to the center,
Somehow.
into the Animus, where, with a singular act of willpower, Barbara manages to use the isotope device on the Animus, destroying it.
I think it's
Makes
like
no
they're all
sense.
being kind of mind controlled because that's what the spider does. And like now that they're at the center, it's the most powerful. And like so no one can get it. Like it has to be actually there to work. And I think Barbara manages to get past the mind control enough to get close enough to use it. I believe.
Sure.
Yeah, I really wasn't very clear. On that because it's kind of they're like struggling. Then it's like
We got it.
And the spider is defeated, and the web planet is
also defeated.
Yes, it is now just the planet.
And the
pill bug. Then we sort of have everybody like hanging out and be like, "Stop."
The pillbugs, by the way, they've gone underground and they think that they can't be in light and stuff. The Menoptera are like, yeah, you totally can. And they're like, we'll see. And they do. They make it, on the other side.
And they've like sort of like foreshadowed it earlier. Like there's like cave paintings inside their underground thing that was like sort of their religion, but was also sort of foreshadowing that they would be able to like go and rise out of the underground and all that.
So they do, and they're like they celebrate that they're able, and they just are like there's like 3 of them, and they just hop around in a little circle, and they're so happy, and everyone's watching them like, aw, yeah, you go, little guys.
And like
that's the kind of content I'm here for.
And they're like, we want to fly too, and they're like, well, you can't, but your kids might.
Maybe
this one didn't really end on a cliffhanger.
No, it didn't.
Not really, no.
But we also have a callback to Ian's tie, who he is still upset about.
He's still really mad about his tie.
That's his whole thing. He's like, I dug through this hole in the ground. I want my tie back.
So we end with that. They all get in the TARDIS and leave. And then we hang around for a bit while the bugs recite poetry and sing it. It's like an Ewok sort of song ending of, these people came to our town and saved the day, and we'll always remember them, and things will be great from here on out. Yub nub, yes.
Yub nub.
Like, I was like, okay, this episode's over, right? No. We're still going. We're getting a little moral lesson here from the Menoptera. And we didn't talk about the Menoptera and their...
The Menoptera in their hand. Though here's the thing about the Menoptera is that someone put a lot of thought into making them aliens, and so all of them they share similar mannerisms, and they're very
they sort of make a triangle with their hands,
and it's very kind of floaty and
and
fluttery.
their words are kind of Shatnered.
Yes, that is exactly what we said.
Yeah.
We are thankful for everything you have done, Doctor. Like
it's
less Dalek,
very
sing-songy,
and it's a nice idea.
It's
I like the hand gestures. I do. I like the thought that was put into making them. The problem with the speech is that it makes
you sleepy.
All of your dialogue stilted, which I think is kind of, I'm just going to say it. I feel like that's the word for the serial, is stilted. There's a lot of really good stuff in here, but there's choices that were made that was like, what if we can't see through the atmosphere and it's all smeary? And what if the ants make this terrible sound every 5 seconds? And what if the Zarbi talk in a way that makes you want to fall asleep? And it's like, well, all of those things ultimately end up to this feeling like it's taking forever.
Here's a fun fact about their movements and speech. From the Wikipedia page, noted choreographer Rosalind A. Winter was hired to create the distinctive movements and stilted speech of the Menoptera.
Stilted!
She was so successful that the production team asked her to take on the role of the Menoptera Vestron, which she accepted. I guess that was the girl Menoptera?
Yeah.
The one that was like hanging out with Ian?
Yeah.
Which I love the hand stuff. The gestures, it feels alien, and it feels like there's a culture there, and it makes them feel more real than just being like, these are some human-looking moths.
I just remember there was a weird moment with Ian and the Menoptera Vestron, I guess, where like there was just like some weird moaning going on, and I wasn't entirely sure what was happening in this shot. It sort of looked like Ian and the Menoptera were just going at it, having sex. Yeah, like I think it's when they're like climbing upwards, and there's just like it's just like a poor camera choice and audio. It's just like, oh, this is unfortunate. But no, yeah, I'm totally with you. I think like I think it was a little bit of an overabundance of we have these interesting ideas, but they're interesting ideas conceptually, but not exactly practically.
Yeah, and I will say, I feel bad. I feel like I'm letting a handful of people down, because before we watched this, there was like a thing going around that was like, I love the Web Planet. I will fight people who don't love it. And I was like, I haven't seen it, so I'm going to go into it with an open mind, and, maybe I'll love it, because maybe the people dislike it because it's campy, and I love campy.
It's definitely a little campy here and there.
I tried, you guys. I tried very hard.
So, a lot of people just, like, really like this cereal?
Dislike it.
Oh, dislike it.
Yeah.
There's just one person on time that liked it.
There's a handful of people who really like it. But, I mean, it's like, universally known as...
potentially like the worst First Doctor cereal.
But
Thanks.
but the people...
That's why I put you on it, because I just wanted to see. Like, I didn't want to say anything about it and just see. So, did you like it? Did you dislike it?
I mean, like...
Because I'm just going to say, I hated it.
Maybe I need more old, like, at least old Doctor Who, or even, like, just specifically Hartnell stuff to compare it to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not going to assume that every Hartnell serial or episode is like it. But, I mean, honestly, like, it wasn't easy for me to get through. Like, I kept being like, okay. Like, like, parts of it were interesting. Like, I mean, it was kind of the general Doctor Who theme of coming someplace, getting stuck, but ending up helping some people overthrow something. Like, I appreciate it. Then you get the backstory. Like, I appreciate all that. Like I said, I was trying to focus on the story less than the costumes and the smeared things and the annoying sound. But, yeah, overall, like, it wasn't awful. Like, I didn't want to... It wasn't Manos, The Hands of Fate, or Plan 9 from Outer Space. Like, I wasn't like... I was not thinking Riff Track should be making fun of this episode.
I definitely
these episodes. Well, but, I mean, like, it was okay. I mean, like, it didn't blow me away, but I wasn't like... I didn't leave the episode feeling offended. Like, I'm dirty for having watched that. I am now dumber. Like, it wasn't like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I was very conflicted about whether to give you this episode or not, because I didn't want this... I mean, part of me was, like, just intrigued to see what you would think without having any preconceptions.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's the worst episode of the First Doctor, or the worst serial, and a lot of people agree. It actually made me stop watching it the first time I was going through it, because, like, I can't get through this.
It took me, I mean,
yeah.
It was the, I mean, the only reason I, like, got through it was because I knew I had to, so I could do the podcast. At one point, I didn't actually do it, I promise you, but at one point I'm like, can I just read the Wikipedia blog and just, like, just show up and be like, yeah, totally. But I didn't want to do that to you. I wanted to actually do it, but...
I'm sorry that this was your first experience.
It's fine.
But it was partially sort of
on purpose?
Yeah, an experiment.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
I was wondering if you'd just be like, oh yeah, it was great, I loved it. And I'd be like, bullshit!
No, I mean, I'm not gonna, like, rip it to pieces, necessarily, but I wasn't...
thrilled.
Well, and the thing is, I've been talking to someone... Bourbon Brownies, actually.
Shout out to Bourbon Brownies.
Shout out to you. You're awesome. He is one of the people who I've talked to who really loves this episode. As I said, it's coming up. I'm really excited for it because I've
heard so much.
Heard that it's awful, and then I've heard a lot. There's been a lot of love for it on my dash, and now I'm really intrigued. And I said we've got a guest for this show who has no real preconceived notions of it whatsoever because we thought that'd be interesting. And he said, oh, that's a rough introduction.
So even he was like, yeah, I like it, but don't start him on that. Yeah. That's also why I didn't want to do it, but also I was just like, this would be interesting.
Well, I mean, you know me
You're
personally.
Like the only person I know personally that like probably doesn't know anything about Classic Who,
Yeah, I mean, like
you're the most blank slate we could get.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird, which is kind of strange because I mean I'm pretty versed in the Whoverse. I mean, despite the Tennant Eccleston mishap, I mean, please don't, forgive me.
I think Ben Paddington, somebody else did the same.
I mean,
Ben or Ray.
I mean, trust me, I know. Like, I wasn't one of those people who started with Tennant and then like, okay, I guess I started with Eccleston,
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable of the Whoverse, at least newer Who, and I know aspects of older Who, but I really, I haven't just sat down and watched it. But yeah, that's just weird that I'm like the cleanest of clean slates.
Well,
Yeah.
that we know who also watches Doctor Who. I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
right.
other people that
Right.
are like, I don't really care about Doctor Who. You're the only person who
Who
likes
cares.
Doctor Who
But I haven't.
that doesn't know a great deal about classic Who.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Ben
There-
Patton knows a lot. Ray knows some.
There's so
So, yeah.
much. I don't know. Like I was really hardcore Doctor Who. Like it was about 4 years ago. I was like really hardcore, and then like a year or so ago, I just kind of like wasn't quite as hardcore about
Yeah.
it. It just reached a point where I was like, every time I turn a corner, it's Doctor Who, Doctor Who, and I'm just like, this used to be like my special. I'm not trying to sound like a hipster. Like I liked it before school, but it used to be kind of like my special thing. Like back with me, because like I remember when like the first episodes of Matt Smith like aired, and that's when it kind of started picking up more and more.
Yeah,
and
and
more.
now it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So like I remember it was kind of my special. Like, all right, yeah, this is my thing. I like. I mean, I like that I can talk to more people about it, but at the same time, it's like everybody watches it now, and so I guess maybe that kind of lost its.
That's why we had to go classic, so
Yeah.
we could still be hipster.
Yeah, I guess I appreciate that in some weird way. I'm anti-hipster, but yet I'm hipster. But, yeah, I guess there's so much television that I want to watch that I did not take the time to go back and watch classic Who, because I mean, there's so much stuff that I want to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much television and not enough time, and video games. I mean, people don't know me, but I have like a million video games. Like I'm currently up to like 150 Nintendo 64 games, unique. Like it's getting crazy.
Oh, I just remembered. You've actually played the Doctor in one of our videos.
Yeah.
The Doctor in a sticky situation.
Yeah, I came up with that, I think.
Yeah.
And I've been the Doctor before. Like we did a commercial for Conuga,
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah.
kind of semi cosplay.
You were the Doctor and I was Inspector Spacetime.
Yeah.
Community, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like a great cosplay, but
We
it's a
should-
Stetson and a jacket.
I have a Ninth Doctor jacket now. We should
Really?
do 9 and
You gotta
11.
shave your head.
I'm just gonna say this is my least favorite serial
Yeah.
that we've watched so far, and it's my least favorite serial that I've seen of the first.
My least
Doctor.
favorite cereal is usually the one without like marshmallows.
Me too.
What
My favorite
what about
is
Oops
once
All
they're
Berries,
just
man?
marshmallows.
I meant like the bran Odie stuff. Unless it's Honey Bunches of Oats. 'cause
Honey
That's
Bunches of Oats.
delightful.
Honey bunches of
Honey Nut Cheerios are pretty good too.
Those are pretty good.
Not just like regular Cheerios.
I'm just
Honey
thinking
Nut
like
Cheerios.
Lucky Charms when you're out of like the charms. I'm just thinking of that. You're like, this has lost its charm.
So you're just left with Lucky?
But you don't even feel that lucky. I mean, it's
It's unlucky, Jones.
Yeah.
That happens to me more than you'd know because I have siblings who will just pick out the marshmallows, and it's like, go eat marshmallows. Now
they're
I
not the
just
same.
I just have a.
The marshmallows are all soft, and these are like crunchy,
I
but
was-
yet soft at the same
I
time.
was so mad last time I went home because I went and I got a bowl of Lucky Charms, and I was like, there are no marshmallows in this whole box left.
I like getting a nice mix of both. Like, I do prefer the marshmallows, but
Yeah.
you kind of want to balance a little.
A balance is fine, but when you always reach that point where you're like, you look down and there are 100 brown things and there's one marshmallow and you're like, I can't fit all this into one spoon or in one mouth. I'm just
My ratio's off.
I'm gonna get a big bite with a marshmallow and some of the brown crap. I'm gonna sip out the milk from around it and then scrape the rest in the trash.
No!
Joe's
I am
offended.
offended. You just eat the rest of the non-ones and save that marshmallow for the last bite. That's what I do. Okay, let's say our final
Let's wrap it up.
our final thoughts on the cereal.
All right.
I was just giving you my.
No, I mean our final thoughts on the web planet.
All right, my final thoughts. There is good stuff in there. I can definitely see why there are people who watch it and feel the need to defend it. I like the Monopter's costume. I like the Opter's costumes. I like a lot of the ideas that are in there. There's just too much that pulls it all down and slows it all down and makes the story drag to the point where you're like, well...
I think they could have done this all in like 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's true with most of the cereals.
So, unfortunately, it is not my favorite. I'm sorry.
Is it your least favorite so far?
Is it my least favorite so far? Maybe, yeah.
Thanks, John.
It's my least favorite. So
It's your only so far. So my final thoughts on it is it's my least favorite. I don't really like it. It's loud. It's annoying. It's slow
Weird.
and boring, and it's visually there's smudges all over the camera, so I can't even see what I'm looking at. But there are some things I like. There's some nice character interaction. I like the tube. I kind of like the maze. The maze design's pretty cool. Like when the Doctor and Vicky are trying to get out with the ant. Like the design of the maze is
I don't
It's
think we
not a
talked
maze.
about the maze one single time.
Well, it's like sort of like a forest, but it looks kind of like a maze.
Yeah.
So that I liked. But all in all, it feels like it's almost designed to be nauseating. Like with like, oh my god, my head hurts from and just so much just hurts my head. So not a fan. But like I said, there are some moments of okayness in it.
There's stuff there where you can see where it's like, what they did there was nice, and there probably was, when this was written, like a good script there, and just at some point, some questionable choices were made.
And I will say, Josh, watch the other episodes.
Yeah.
Like any other serial is probably better. I would say if you wanted to watch a good one, maybe watch. Let's see. I don't know.
I would say watch
the Romans is pretty good, or the Aztecs.
I would Edge of Destruction, which there are
Edge of
people out
Destruction's
there
weird.
who will fight me about that, but it's 2 episodes long, so
Yeah.
you don't have to sit through like 6 or 4 of them. It is weird, but I love it.
Or maybe watch the Daleks.
Yeah,
Daleks.
it's also just a matter of finding. Like I don't have enough time to watch all the things. You know, as a recently fiancéed man.
Yeah, you've got no time at all anymore. Just so you know.
Yeah, I get that. But she loves video games too, so we make time for
fun things.
Video games. But right now a lot of the things we're watching, it's like I'm rewatching, but it's because it's things that I want her to see. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine. I love watching things with people for the first time, except maybe the web planet. I love watching people, seeing people see things for the first time. Like as soon as we finish Arrested Development, we're jumping right into Firefly, and it's her first time. But after that, hopefully we'll get to watch something new for the first time. But I don't think Classic Who will be on the list. I'm sorry.
Right.
Maybe one day.
I hope that wasn't informed by this.
No. It's just, if it would have been this high on my priority list, I would have watched a lot of it already. Because I said, I've been a big fan for a while. And I've had all the Classic Who episodes on my external hard drive now for like 3 years. Maybe 2 years. So I've had opportunities. I just haven't taken advantage of them. I think it's just felt like it was like a big undertaking. I'm like, because I know if I start, I'm going to be like, I want to keep going. And I'm like, this is going to consume my everything. I'm going to quit my job and watch Doctor Who all day.
Okay, so now give your final thoughts on the Web Planet.
Final thoughts. Not a great introductory.
I'm also curious what you think about the characters themselves, because you haven't really said like what your thoughts.
Yeah,
on
I don't really know a lot of their backstory. I mean, like the Doctor, like I said before, he's grumpy and he says, "Dear boy," a lot. I'm used to the other Doctors that are more, I guess, eccentric and funny, and he doesn't really have those qualities. He has them a little bit, but not. Yeah, I don't know how much they change throughout the year, but I feel like the Doctor is usually a little more lively and kind of crazy, and he's more just kind of chill, like more to the point. He's just like, "This is the thing we're gonna do," and that's kind of the vibe I got. He wasn't as playful.
You should really see the Romans. That was his little
more.
Okay.
He's because this episode, he wasn't even he was in it, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff he's not even in.
There's a lot of stuff going on,
different places. So he's not really in it, and the things he had like maybe 1 or 2 kind of funny-ish, jokey moments.
Did he do his laugh? I don't remember if he did his.
I think he did like once.
Yeah.
The Romans is a good showcase for that kind of side of him. It
was actually probably one of the first ones that like full on showed that his sort of more humorous side.
Yeah.
I get, like I said, bad introductory, I guess. Which I don't know, you did it on purpose. I understand.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not the, me, I'm not the kind of person who's gonna watch like 5 minutes of something and be like, it's all terrible because these 5 minutes were off. I'm not gonna do that. I give things a fair chance, and I like to take things that are not so great and give them, the benefit of the doubt. So like, and I know enough about Doctor Who to know it's not gonna be bad. It may be hokey. Or maybe a little whatever, but it's not like overall like
that's
it's
the
terrible.
Other reason why we wanted to give this to you is because out of
I'm
everyone,
optimistic.
out of everyone, I feel like you would give it a fair chance the most.
I swear I wasn't giving this to you as a prank.
Right.
It was just like, this would be interesting.
No, I get you. But yeah, I mean, like I always give things, like I try to tell people, like, don't judge a show by the first episode or even the first season in some cases. Like give it a little bit. Sometimes you have to give a little bit of time to get the wheels rolling. So I would go, and it's even this when they started back with Eccleston, like those first couple episodes, they're good, but it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, and you have to get through the farting aliens.
Yeah, you get through the farting aliens, and you're like, okay, yeah. You get to like I think it's like the World War II episode or
Empty Child.
Empty Child, yeah. Like, then they're like, okay, yeah, I get this now, but. I just don't I don't want to sell myself short or miss out on an awesome experience just because I took 10 minutes of a show and I'm like, nah, that sucks. I don't want to be that guy. I'm pessimistic against pessimism. Like I just don't like it. I like being happy and enjoying things, enjoying life, and so even if it's not the best, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a go. That's what I say about you, I guess. Just like he's not the best, but I like it.
He'll do.
So yeah, overall, yeah, not the best, but not terrible either. And I watch riff tracks, and I've seen some terrible things. So
yeah, I do wonder how it became the most hated.
There's got to be something worse out there. I mean, farting aliens are pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, I would watch the farting aliens before I'd watch the Web Planet again. I mean, I think part of it is just that it is so.
I think it might just be that it's the weakest, and when you.
I mean, it's also just it hurts to watch, kind of, because of the noise, and it's visually fuzzy. It kind of just gives you a headache. If you ignore the story and all that, like just visually and like from the audio alone, it's just kind of a headache. Like the story itself is okay. I mean, it's not the best ever, but it's.
I mean, it's like anything else. It's like any other serial we've done where we've said, this serial has this strength, and...
The way Ben Padden said it, like, he said it when we were recording his episode. I don't think it made it into the episode. He said it was like it's like a school play version of Doctor Who. It's okay, and it's kind of adorable because it's like they're just kind of inept at what they're doing.
Aww, I don't...
He said about the Web Planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I kind of agree with that. Like, you watch it and you're like, that's cute and everything. But I don't want to do it again.
No, I will say that. I'm in no hurry to rewatch it.
I think it builds a foundation, though, of stuff that they're going to continue to do in Doctor Who, even in recent, where it's just kind of the idea of things that we're familiar with, but yet in a completely different way. So, like, we are familiar with these bugs, these moths, spiders. We're familiar with all those, but now we're seeing them in a completely different kind of way.
It is a very neat reimagining of,
and that's the thing they do later in Doctor Who a lot. It's kind of like the Weeping Angels. Like, you see these statues, but now you see them in a whole new light because of what this episode. Right. So, like, next time you see an ant, it's in your mind. You're gonna be here, and you're gonna like hold a little spider in a case up to it and see if it runs away. But yeah, I think it's kind of like maybe set the building blocks for what would eventually become kind of a framework that they use later. Like a very loose framework. Like eventually they're like, okay, no more smears, no more of the crazy sounds, but...
I think they even kind of instantly regretted that in the production, because it falls out of use.
Yeah, I feel like in the last 2 episodes there wasn't really
someone watched it and went, "Oh, that wasn't a great choice."
My question is, would you watch that serial again?
I mean, like, just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun.
No,
I didn't want to watch it again, and I had to. You were like, "Why don't you come over and watch it with us?"
I was wondering why you were so hesitant. I'm like, "Dude, we'll knock this out. I'll be ready for your podcast."
I was like, "Man, I do not want to watch this a third time," but I don't know how to say it without sounding like. Without tipping you to the fact that it's awful.
It makes sense now. But yeah, obviously if money was involved. But I'm not just going to, I'm not going to take, it's over 2 hours.
Yeah, you're taking away precious viewing time.
2 hours of my life that I could be spent doing literally anything. That could be a good nap, a good bath. That could be...
That's a great bath, a 2-hour bath.
I mean, 2 hour... Yeah, I mean, that could be video game time. That could be like a good movie.
It could be watching a movie while taking a bath.
It could be. You would take that away from me.
Podcast.
Yeah, that could be listening to the podcast about the episode, which is probably way better than the episode because you're in it.
That's probably true, but yeah, I mean, you'd be taking that away from me to watch that again, and no, I don't like it.
Thanks for taking that original 2 hours out for us.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, sorry it took me so long to actually watch them. I mean, you're like, have you watched them yet? And I'm like...
Did you... You're like, have you seen it?
I'm trying to, work out this whole proposal thing. I need a little bit of,
Anyway, thanks again for being on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Then you are invited back if you want to take any more time out. I'm sure you do. You're like, I don't know, Joe. I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, if you give me some better better episodes, maybe a shorter serial.
We'll make up for it. We'll figure it out.
Honestly, like, I think it would be
cool to do like one doctor, one serial a doctor.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, that would be cool too. But I was thinking it'd be cool to actually, if I like pretty much make Kelly watch them as well, because she knows. I mean, like I said, she's seen one episode. She's seen Vincent and the Doctor, and she watched watched the first 2 episodes of this. I mean, that's you want a clean slate. And I mean, she knows a little, I guess from hearing stuff. You can't hear some stuff. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to have her.
Yeah, like she watches the episode and she's like, they can travel through time?
Yeah, it might happen. You don't know. She knows more a little bit of that. But I mean, I don't know. It might be interesting if you had her.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Next time we'll be back with The Crusade, which is only a 4-parter, but 2 of them are missing.
Is Ian gonna fight a lion? Because Ian was supposed to fight a lion in the Romans, and I feel robbed.
Didn't, yeah. I don't know, maybe he will. So come back for that. And thanks for listening to the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon!